Retirement is wonderful if you have two essentials, much to live on and much to live for. This quote of an unknown person gives you a powerful message on retirement planning, without which you would not have much to live on, even though you may have much to live for post-retirement. Hi, this is your host Gururaj in this series on retirement planning. Hope you all enjoyed our first episode, which dwelled on the planning for retirement before retirement. Hope you have got started on it, as the best day to begin was yesterday. Life surprises with unexpected events in the shape of emergencies. For example, a COVID or a recession or a war can upset your retirement planning after you actually retire. This brings us to today's topic, what you need to do after you retire in terms of retirement planning. Before we deep dive into today's topic, a thumb rule to remember is, do become debt-free before you retire. Barring health and life insurance premium, you should be EMI-free before you hang your boots. The first financial planning step after retirement should be to make a budget or an income and expenditure statement. While doing this exercise, keep in mind the money termite called inflation. Let us understand this with an example. Suppose you retire at 60 and expect to live till the age of 85 years. This means you have to plan for another 25 years. Assuming your monthly expenses at retirement is 1 lakh rupees and assuming an average inflation rate of 6%, the money equivalent of 1 lakh rupees in value would be 4.29 lakh rupees after 25 years. This means that after 25 years, you would need 4 times more money to maintain your living standard in the year you retire. Unless you invest in instruments that give you more returns than inflation, you would not be able to maintain your living standard and you may outlive your corpus too. This brings us to what is popularly called as bucket strategy of planning. What is a bucket strategy? It is an investment approach which distributes your retirement corpus into 3 or more buckets. These buckets are based on when the money will be required. For example, the first bucket could be for emergency fund. Second bucket could be for your short-term goals up to 5 years. The third bucket for medium-term goals of between 6 to 10 years, and the fourth bucket could be for your long-term goals. The most important bucket is the first bucket, which is emergency bucket. This ensures funds for unplanned events like COVID or sudden travel in case of medical emergency, ailments not covered under health insurance, etc. If you have a comprehensive health plan, then a corpus of 5 to 10 lakhs is considered adequate. Without a health insurance, it is advisable to fill 25 to 30 lakh rupees in this emergency bucket. You would need the funds in quick time, so investments for this must be kept in bank FDs or liquid funds. It is advisable to set aside 5 to 10% of total retirement corpus for this emergency bucket. Then comes the monthly income bucket, which takes into account short-term expenses like household expenditure for the next 5 years, insurance premium, vacation, travel, maintenance and repair costs, social obligations like weddings, wedding gifts, festivals, etc. Just to be doubly sure, one may add 5 to 10% extra to the figure that you arrive at for the above expenses. Normally, 20% of the investment corpus should come in this bucket. The preferred investment products for these are liquid funds in the first 2 years, then ultra short-term funds for the next 3 years. Products like Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana Yojana and Senior Citizen Savings Scheme can also be added to the list of investment products for this bucket. The third bucket is to grow money, popularly referred to as the medium-term bucket. It is filled with money needed between 6th and 10th year from the year of retirement. This is an intermediate bucket, as every year it gets money from the 4th bucket while transferring money to the 2nd bucket. Ideally, 20% of the retirement corpus should be earmarked for this bucket. Here, investments are made in products like hybrid mutual funds, conservative balance advantage funds, target maturity funds, and long-term FDs to fetch higher return. These carry more risk than the investment products of bucket 2. You have to do a yearly review of the funds in this bucket and then put the funds needed for coming 1 year in the 2nd bucket and transfer same amount from the 4th bucket to the medium term bucket. The 4th and the last bucket is the long term bucket. This by far is the most crucial bucket that ensures that the 2nd and the 3rd bucket remain filled with adequate funds through the retirement. This is one bucket where you should take risk of investing in equities to get better inflation adjusted returns. Anywhere between 40% to 60% of the corpus should be invested in this bucket, which should predominantly be invested in equity mutual funds, stocks, PMS, etc. High returns come with high risk, so it is advisable one consults a financial expert on investments for this bucket. One important point to remember is that we need to ensure one has an adequate retirement corpus at the time of retirement. If it is not so, you have to reduce the expenses or find ways of earning additional income. Secondly, assessment of your risk appetite is extremely crucial for deciding the allocation for the various buckets. Assuming your buckets are in place, you may ask how much funds one should withdraw for meeting the expenses. Simple thumb rule is that if your portfolio is 50% in equity and 50% in debt, you can withdraw 4% of the total corpus for the next 25 years. If you exceed that 4% mark, you would be eating into your principal corpus. That, my friends, may force you to outlive the corpus. Friends, I hope this episode helped you in understanding the nitty-gritty of retirement planning. Our aim is to make you feel happy after retirement. As George Bernard Shaw said, you don't stop laughing when you grow old, you grow old when you stop laughing. Keep smiling till we meet again. Bye for now.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.